Emily Ehman here for the Big Ten Network. It is a new year, and we wanted to get to know some of the new coaches around the league. And we're kicking it off with a very exciting new addition to Iowa's campus. Clarissa Chun is with me. She was named the Hawkeyes' first ever women's wrestling coach in November. Clarissa Chun, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm excited to get to know you.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Well, you're not only the first women's wrestling coach at Iowa, but you're the first women's wrestling coach of any NCAA Division I Power 5 school. So while some people might not know exactly what that means, I got to ask, what is the current landscape of women's wrestling at the collegiate level?
There's a lot of young athletes coming up through high school that have big goals and dreams of being world and Olympic medalists, and the future is bright for women's wrestling in the U.S. And those are the girls that I want. The landscape for college wrestling is there's over 110 collegiate women's wrestling programs, none of which are part of the Power 5 conference. And so really everyone wants to come and be part of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and it's exciting, and just want to get the right people in.
Well, doing it at a place like Iowa, obviously a wrestling mecca across the country. I know you're working to build up that program by, I believe, 2023. So what's the current state of the program right now in the team?
Currently right now, I just started last week. It's officially 1 week since my start date. I had a couple young ladies on campus over the weekend. So it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? The second day on the job, having recruits in, but really just wanted to see and try to get them in and have them feel the atmosphere here in Iowa City, because there's no better atmosphere for wrestling than here on campus at University of Iowa in the Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Well, you certainly have the background to help build up this program and be in the spot that you're in. You're a two-time Olympian and you won bronze back in 2012. I'm always so fascinated by Olympians for, so many obvious reasons, but I love hearing about the Olympic Village. So I want to know what your favorite and least favorite part were about staying in the Olympic Village.
Favorite part is just being surrounded by a lot of people who are like ultra focused and like passionate about what they do, and there's just like specimens walking around, just people in their sports, just beautiful people, right? Just driven and just like being able to like represent your country, and everyone's just walking around prideful, like with nationalism across like their nation, across their chest or their back and whatnot. Everything is just whatever you want and need, you can grab and eat, drink, whatever they have available through like the corporate sponsors and stuff like that. I don't know that there was anything that I didn't like about the village. I guess like sometimes it can be challenging, wrestling was towards the end of the Olympics, like in the second week. So when events get finished, the village starts getting like lax and party and whatnot and a little loud. So then I think, the challenge was staying focused through that, when we're at the end of the competition, or of the Olympic Games.
Yeah, it seems like toward the end of the games, when those events are going on later and later, people are like, I gotta get enough sleep, but the village is kind of wilding right now. But I was looking up your list of medals in your career you've won is like literally 8 pages long. And I always wonder with people who have just massive amounts of hardware, like where do you keep them all? Are they in a drawer, in a room? Where do you put them?
Yeah. I don't know, in a bag somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere in Colorado, it's split up. It's some in Hawaii with my family. I probably should just have them out, but I don't. I just
You
it
got
wasn't
that
ever for that. Yeah.
special bronze one anywhere special?
In Colorado, in one of my dressers, it's not displayed anywhere. I don't know. Yeah, I once in a while bring it out for anyone who wants to see it.
Well, with all those accomplishments and, medals and stuff that you've won in your career, what are you most proud of in your career or in your life so far?
I think just it really wasn't, I think it's more the journey through trying to achieve what I wanted to achieve, like the goal of achieving it, even to this day, going for this position, it's the process and the challenges that come with it that, you know, like make me a better person, as far as where can I grow, where can I find challenges where I can overcome and try to, like, I have goals for a coaching position too, so it's kind of, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I'm just not really answering these very well, but yeah, I think there's not one particular, I think there's turning moments in my career that has happened along the way, and it kind of, will go with what, I hope to teach these young athletes, as far as, we all have these conversations with ourselves and how we can bring out our best selves to those moments that, mean so much to us. So.
Well, people always say, it's not the destination, it's the journey that gets you there. It seems like wrestling has taken you all over the world. So now I'm going to ask about the destination piece of it. Where is the favorite place that you've ever visited?
Oh, that's so hard, because I love traveling, in the sense that I love, like, understanding people and different cultures, and I think that's what's enjoyable about being a coach as well. But like, if I were to say Japan, I love Japan. The people are nice, very hospitable. The food's great. It's clean, whatnot. But all across the board, I can find like that I enjoy different areas of the world for their own culture and their people and how they operate. So.
Well, I know you like to travel a lot. So when you're not coaching or, on the mat, what can we find you doing?
Well, if I'm in Hawaii, I'll be in the beach. I'll be surfing, right? And if I am in Colorado, I'll be hiking and biking and up in the mountains every once in a while, like snowboarding or hot springs and whatnot. I'm gonna have to learn what I can do here in Iowa. I know they have like a big biking community. I'm not that hardcore. I'm more a leisure biker, but I don't know. Like I enjoy reading books, and any chance I get for a little bit of downtime, I'll dive in some like TV series or something.
Love that. Yeah. Got to get the downtime and the R&R.
Yeah.
Being a female coach and a former athlete in such a heavily male dominated space, what has that taught you in your life?
That it, like, in the sense, it doesn't, I don't see it as any separation, like male or female, like that we do or don't belong, in the sport. Maybe that was like ancient times and like 20 years ago. And even when I started wrestling, I came from Hawaii, and Hawaii was the first state that sanctioned girls wrestling as a high school sport. So, I didn't have like challenges of where I belonged on the mat or where I didn't belong on the mat, like in high school or in college, because I went to Missouri Valley College, which was the first women's wrestling scholarship program for a college program. And there were times where, throughout my wrestling career where it's like women got pushed to the side and whatnot, as far as sharing the mat space with the men. But I don't know. I didn't look at it as like we're separate. I just looked at it as wrestling, like I would watch the men's practices and just see how you could utilize it like in the female aspect. There's, some differences sometimes, but I don't know. I just look at it as wrestling.
We talked about, back in Hawaii where there was already kind of a women's wrestling community there. What's your first wrestling memory?
First wrestling memory? Oh man. Just first practice, I guess. A lot of conditioning, a lot of like incline sprints and like just stadiums and all that kind of stuff, like long practices, 3 hour long, my high school wrestling coach didn't treat me any different. He spoke to all the whole team, boys and girls, as one, as far as, if things got hard, like pick a door. We trained in an auditorium, so there was a lot of doors. It's like pick a door and find your way out if this isn't the place for you. So that, like, the hard work and conditioning was the memory that stuck out.
How old were you when you started?
16. So
16.
yeah.
Was there anyone growing up that you idolized that kind of led you on this path?
I would say my brother, he never wrestled, but my background is judo, and he did judo first, and I wanted to do judo because he did judo and was bringing home trophies and whatnot, so and he never wrestled. But when the decision was, when I graduated high school, if I should go into wrestling or continue wrestling or choose to go the path of judo, he kind of like encouraged me to go the wrestling route, and if it didn't work out, then we could always go to judo, whatnot, so I wasn't very knowledgeable of who was who in the wrestling world. I did look up who was in my weight class at that time when I was deciding to like continue my path with wrestling, and had some strong women like Trisha Saunders, who's 4-time world champion, and that was the person that I was like, I want to challenge her. I want to see where I'm at with her. I want to be a world champion one day. And I didn't even know that opportunity even existed, So.
When you think back, was there a moment, whether it was right when you started, when you were 16, or maybe a little later on, where you were like, dang, I'm pretty good at this?
I think early on, I felt like I had a little bit of advantage in the high school realm because of my judo background. And I felt the judo transitioned well into wrestling, even beyond high school. So I don't know. I didn't never, I guess I thought, yeah, this works well. Judo works well with it, with wrestling. But I also felt that there was so much more to learn in wrestling and so much areas to develop in wrestling. So I never just stopped at that. I never relied fully on just my judo like skills. So.
Well, last thing, I'll let you leave it here, but thinking back to when you were 16 and getting into wrestling, and there might be a lot of girls across the country, across the world that are in a similar situation. What would be your message to them to just start?
To start wrestling? Yeah, just get on the mat and, you'll discover yourself, you'll discover what you're made out of in the sense of how you work through situations. I think wrestling is an amazing sport for that. My cousin got her kids into wrestling for that pure reason of, self-discovery and how you pick yourself up, because you are gonna fall, it's part of learning and growing, and wrestling kind of exposes, all areas of the individual. So, yeah, I think it helps build character and confidence, along the way. And yeah, I think it's fun, you can make it fun.
Well, Coach Chun, thank you so much for taking the time. I've loved getting to know you, and I'm sure the Big Ten community and of course Hawkeye community is excited as well. It's been an honor just to talk to you and see what you've done, considering, your pedigree and all of that. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Emily.